Alrighty. The first question is, what is your full name? Why did your parents select the name for you? And do you have a nickname?
I have no nickname. My name is a little confusing. I'll start with part of it and then go to the other part. If I'm in Memphis or anywhere outside of Dothan in New Orleans, they call me Gene, because that's what they thought my middle name was, Danny Gene Taylor, when I was in school.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when I started traveling salesman jobs, they put on my business card my whole name, Danny Gene Taylor. So then everybody outside the area where I was born and raised call me Danny. So now I have actually two names that I go to Memphis, they all call me Gene. Okay. And to begin with, my name is not really even Gene. Is that right? It's Danny Aaron Taylor, I think.
Oh, wow.
But my uncle, Archie, which is my brother's mother, or mother's brother, wanted my name to be Gene, so there I am.
So that was kind of a nickname.
So it's kind of a nickname, yeah.
And was there any particular reason why your parents, do you know why they might have picked Danny or Gene for you?
I have no clue.
None. When and where were you born?
I was born, I think, in Ripley, Tennessee. I think that's the area where we lived. We were on a farm, but I think it's considered Ripley, Tennessee.
And what's your birthday?
May 5th, 1945.
Okay. How did your family come to live in Ripley, or wherever you were at for the major part of your life?
I don't know that. I know my dad was part Indian, so that had a lot to do with the area. When they first started out, now why? Because, I don't know. There's no reason why we were in that area. Just, my sister eventually moved us off the farm and moved us into the city with her, so we got stuck in Memphis then. So.
Oh, okay, so you moved from Ripley to Memphis then.
Yeah.
Were there other family members in the area? And if
Yes.
so, who?
Yes, my uncles and aunts and nephews and, typical family people.
What was the house on the farm like, if you remember that, and then the apartment that you moved into in Memphis, I think it was?
Okay, the house on the farm was a 3-room house, and you could stand in the front yard and see the backyard without looking through the windows. You could see right through the house.
And then
And it was on a little hill out in the country.
do you remember how many bathrooms it had, or if it even had electricity?
Didn't have electricity, didn't have bathrooms.
Was there plumbing or telephones
No.
indoor?
Expand a little bit on what you remember.
About what?
The house.
The farm?
I mean, you don't have to just answer the questions
Oh.
direct. You can expand a little
Yeah.
bit on your memories of it.
It was just a shabby little house, that we were sharecroppers.
Oh, okay.
If you know what a sharecropper is.
I've heard of them before.
Okay, you might want to do some research on a sharecropper, because that's what we were. Where you share other people's land if you get a part of it. So, and that's what we did. And when you did that, you just got whatever they had to live in. So, it was a really little shabby house. I mean, inside there were like wall boards every 8 inches,
Mm-hmm.
and then in between that there was nothing but wallpaper. So it was very cold, very, very cold in the wintertime.
I bet.
Because we had a lot of snow up there. Every year it snowed 2 or 3 times.
Did
Of course, in the summertime it was hot as the blazes too. So
do you remember what your room was like? Or if you even had did you have your own room?
No, we shared a room. There were 4 of us that shared a room.
And do you remember who all was in the room together?
Yeah, it was me and my 3 brothers.
What were your brothers' names?
David, Jimmy, and Jerry.
Were there any special items that you remember that maybe were just yours, or maybe they came with the house, or they were, kind of characteristic of that house? Anything special?
Yes. The giant oak tree in the front yard. It must have been 6 feet wide. It was the biggest tree I ever saw in my life.
That's a big tree.
Oh, it was huge. It was as big as a car.
Did you ever try, climbing it or anything?
Oh yeah, we climbed it, and wasn't easy because a tree that big don't have limbs down low. But we did climb it, and we had all our little cowboy people forts underneath it and all that. So that's where we did our playing because of the shade.
Yeah. That's nice.
Under that big tree.
Now, besides the farm, you had mentioned you lived in Memphis for a while. What was that home like, or?
That was. What was it though? And okay, when we moved to Memphis, my sister Margaret had her husband had committed suicide. And of course she moved us into Memphis to get us away from the sharecropper. Of course, sharecroppers at that time, this was in the late 50s, mid 50s, and sharecroppers were a dying breed. They weren't going to be anymore. So at first we moved into her house, which was just a normal house like this one. And then we just kind of, she was a young single girl at that time, so she had her own agenda. And we just kind of bounced around from place to place, apartment to apartment. And some of them were really, really bad. Some of them were worse than the house. Some of them were better than the house. But mostly just shabby little dump apartments,
Is there anyone that you remember, that really stuck out to you, or one that you really liked even?
Yeah. There was one that we lived on in Poplar Avenue, where I had the most friends.
And it was an apartment?
It was an apartment. It was up on the 2nd floor. There was this huge balcony all along the walkway out front of the apartment. I like that. That was a nice apartment.
And that was in Memphis?
It was in Memphis, yeah. At one time we lived where the gangster Pretty Boy Floyd was shot. In the apartment, we lived in that apartment at one time. Not his apartment, but the building.
When did y'all move to Orchard Avenue?
Well, that was 59 or 58.
'Cause that's where your mom lived.
Yeah.
When I knew her, I don't know if she owned
Well,
the house or
that's after. Okay, now we're getting.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay, that's after we got a house and we got settled. She's asking about apartments we're bouncing around to. So you got to go into Glen and all that for the rest of it.
Could you have an estimate about how many places you lived in
Ooh.
through your childhood?
Yeah, probably 20.
20 different places, and that's all within Memphis, right? You never lived?
Yes. Well, Memphis, Millington area, yeah. Country.
How old were you when y'all finally settled down though on Orchard Avenue?
I felt like I could take this in progression, but I can't.
I'm sorry.
15, 16, I guess.
And that's whenever you guys finally got a house?
Yes, my mother finally got a house. Got her own house.
Was that a nice house? How big was it?
It was about like this house.
Did you have your own room then, or were you still sharing?
No, I was sharing at that time with David and Jerry. Jimmy had gone. He was in the Navy, so he was gone. But David and Jerry and the three of us still shared the same room.
What's your earliest childhood memory?
A what?
Your earliest childhood memory, the farthest back you can remember.
There's one thing that sticks out in my mind when I go back like that. Is the day my mama got whooped by my dog. We were doing something outside that was naughty, I don't know what. And my mother was going to spank me outside. Well, the dog didn't see it that way.
Oh my gosh.
So she had to spank me and the dog. But it was just funny watching Mama climb up on the back of the car to
Get the dog away.
get the dog off over it so she could spank me.
Do you remember the dog's name?
Carlo.
Carlo.
Where he got that name, I don't know. Oh, Margaret gave him that name.
I think that's a neat name.
Yeah.
It's a neat little kind of name. Do you remember like what kind of dog he was, or?
Yeah, he was like a brown lab. He was just a big old dog, you know. Just beige in color.
Now we're going to go down the major family members that you had.
Right.
I want you to describe, if you can, the personalities of each one. And, you know, what stuck out to you and what made them who they were.
Okay.
Let's start with your mom.
With my mom. My mom was a super strong woman. She had enough faith for everybody. And she was just a strong-willed person that, you know, that loved her family and did everything she could. She did everything she could do for her family. But she was a very strong woman to do what she did.
What about your dad?
My dad was never around.
When was the last time you saw him?
It was probably I don't know, probably 60, 61.
Okay, and then how about Jimmy?
How about Jimmy? Jimmy was kind of a backstabber. He would steal from his own kin. In fact, he stole $17 from me once. Only money I had in the whole world. And he got up to go back to the Navy one morning, and when I got up, my money was gone. $17.
That's
I
a lot
had
of
made
money.
working in the fields.
Wasn't that, you know, that'd be like, how much today, would you think? Be like, maybe.
Oh, that'd be like $150 today,
That's a lot of money.
or more.
Yeah, it was everything you had and had worked months for, probably.
Oh yeah. And we got paid by nickels and dimes.
Mm. Wow.
So
That was probably a big setback for you. What about David?
David, I would say, was confused. David never found himself. He was a good person. He had an Elvis fetish. Thought he was Elvis. Never changed. He always had the collar up and the shirt unbuttoned and the black wavy hair and the whole bit. He was an Elvis freak. Even when we were young, when Elvis first came out.
Really?
He was an Elvis freak, yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, he had a girlfriend that they went to several parties at his house, so he got to know Elvis.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think I went one time.
Did
But
you?
his girlfriend had some kind of friendship relationship with some kind of friend of his, and every time they had a party, David and Dolores were there.
Did you ever meet Elvis while you were there?
Yeah.
You did?
Very briefly.
Now what about Jerry?
Jerry's kind of like me. He's a tough guy. And I don't mean that to be braggadocious, but you know, the way Jerry and I looked at it, somebody needs whipping, whip him. You know.
Is he the one that's coming to visit?
He's the one that's coming to visit.
Little brother.
Who's bigger than me.
Now, what were the age progressions? Now, who's the oldest?
The oldest would be Margaret.
Margaret, and then describe her.
That's Margaret's husband. I never knew Margaret that well. I mean, she was a young teenager before I could remember anything, you know. And then she was out and married and all that. So I really never got to know her until our later years, you know. So I really can't judge her in any kind of way because I didn't really know her that well.
Yeah.
But she always took care of you.
She always took care of us. If we had a
She
place,
never forgot the family.
she made sure we had a place to live. Always.
When she started working, she'd buy you Christmas. She'd do what she could. I mean, she never
Right.
forgot her family and all those kids.
We never had Christmas without Margaret. You know, of course, there wasn't no Santa Claus.
Yeah.
If there was, he left us out every year. So, but with Margaret, it was something. Little rubber cars or little rubber people. We had millions of little rubber soldiers. I mean, thousands of them. But they were cheap. They were 20 cents for a bag full of them. You know?
Yeah, but those were big time toys back then.
Oh yeah, I know.
And I've got your mom, Dad, Jimmy, David, Jerry, and Margaret. Is there anybody else I'm missing?
Marie, my little sister.
And Jeanette.
And Jeanette, she's the middle sister. Jeanette was kind of weird growing up. She was kind of between Jimmy and David on the sly side. Not being able to tell you the truth and stuff like that, you know. I mean, she's a born-again Christian now, which I'm glad to see. Marie was my little sister. When she was, I guess, 18, 19, she got hit by a drunk driver. And she's been in a wheelchair ever since.
She must have been a little bit older because she had both kids.
Yeah.
I think she might have been 22 or 3.
Okay.
Maybe 25. But anyway, she was in a coma for months. They didn't know she was going to live. And she came out of the coma, but she's in a wheelchair.
She's in a wheelchair.
And in a nursing home. Well, she's not in a nursing home. She's in an own apartment now. She's in a nursing home.
It's assisted living there.
No.
Huh? Okay.
It's in a special apartment for the handicapped, but it's not assisted living.
Okay.
And,
She's a born-again Christian.
and so that's everybody?
That's everybody.
You had 5 different, 6 brothers and sisters in addition to yourself. Making 7 children, right?
Yeah, there was 2 that died before I was around. And a boy and a girl that died before I made it on the scene.
Do you remember any kind of games that you used to play whenever you were growing up? Any kind of, games you play with your brothers or?
Mostly what we played growing up was cowboys. We had all the woods to run through, and we'd make stick horses and ride all day long.
Did you have a favorite toy? Your favorite toy of all time?
Not really.
No. What was your favorite thing to do for fun once you got a little bit older? Did you like to go to the movies, or did you like to go hang out at a diner or anything like that?
No, I like to watch football games. I got addicted to football. That's junior high school.
Did you have any chores that you can remember?
Oh, I don't know if you call them set chores, but yeah, we helped Mama around the yard. She had to help her cut the yard, and garbage, and just normal things that teenage boys have to do.
Which was your least favorite, the chore that you just
I'm sure it was cutting the yard.
Cutting the yard.
Because we had push mowers. We didn't have a gas mower.
Do you remember getting an allowance?
No, never got an allowance. Now, if my mama had $1 or $2 and I was going somewhere, if I asked her, she'd give it to me. But no set allowance, no.
When did you start first going to school? Did you start in kindergarten, or did you?
No, I started in the first grade.
And then you stayed in school until you graduated high school? Right?
Yes.
What was school like for you?
Fun. Our school was unique. It was a school, it was an elementary school that every year they added a year on to it. So we were always a senior class.
Really?
Yeah. It was very unique because it was like 63 of us, I believe. No, it's when we graduated. Probably wasn't that many. Probably wasn't but 30 or 40 people that graduated.
Really?
So, it was a lot of fun because of the way it's set up. What?
It was a small school, but y'all were always king of the hill.
We were always seniors, yeah.
How did you get to school?
Walk.
Uphill both ways.
In the snow.
Knee deep snow.
5 feet of snow?
Yeah. But yeah, I walked to school.
You did. What were your best and worst subjects?
My best subject was English. My worst subject was math.
So you were a writer then?
I don't know. I never had any trouble with spelling or English or anything like that.
You made good grades all through school.
Oh yeah, I made
You
good
made
grades
good
and everything. I
grades.
just hated math.
What was do you remember your favorite though? Was it English?
English, yes.
Football.
Actually, it was.
Now, where did you attend grade school? Was it in the same place?
Yeah, in the same areas where I lived. Grade school would have been mostly Ripley area.
And then high school?
Memphis.
Now, this question kind of skips, the time, but it's basically, where'd you go to college, if you went to college?
I went for a little while at Arkansas Polytechnic Institute, or they called it Arkansas Tech.
Is that the only place that you attended?
Yeah.
Okay. Now back to high school and grade school. What school activities and sports did you participate in?
Football and some baseball.
What position did you play in football?
Linebacker. I was one of the mean guys.
Like to hit people.
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Do you remember any fads from your youth?
Any what?
Any major fads from your youth?
Fads.
Something that was characteristic of, you know, where you lived or even the time that you lived in.
I can't remember any.
Poodle skirts, slick back hair, hair sticking up, flat top haircuts.
Yeah, flat tops. I guess all that stuff.
What about special kind of clothes? Just nothing special?
Well, the hoop skirts. I remember wearing all them girls had them all the hoops underneath their skirt.
Did you have a leather jacket or anything? Or did you?
I had my football jacket on.
Football jacket. Was it a Letterman?
Oh yeah. I was a co-captain. It's one of them.
That's neat.
That was on a trophy that deteriorated around it.
I'm gonna hold that up for the camera. Let's see if we can get it in. I doubt we'll be able to get it out of the way. There we go. I guess you can't really see it, but that's what it is.
You can have that in your book.
Put that there.
If you're gonna put things in your book.
Yeah, I can put it in there. That'll definitely be something that can go in. Especially if you have any old, like, football memorabilia, anything like
Yeah,
that.
I got some pictures and stuff.
Definitely.
Pull it all out.
As a child, who was your heroes, or even if growing up as a teenager, if you had a hero or anything like that?
I don't remember any.
Told me the other day Uncle Archie was your hero. Oh, well. Hero, he'd been in the wars.
Well, yeah, I
Or
mean,
some cowboys. Did you have any hero cowboys?
I wouldn't call them heroes. No, they were my favorite things, you know, my cowboy to watch. But no, I wouldn't say. If I had a hero, it was Uncle Archie.
Can you remember a favorite song, or even the favorite kind of music that you liked?
I like country.
Is there a particular song?
You listened to country back then?
Yeah. No, I don't.
What is the greatest gift that you've ever received at any time in your life?
Oh my goodness. I guess it would have to be getting saved.
Good answer. Wow. That is a gift. I didn't even think of that.
What age did you get saved at?
I was about 16, I guess, when I first did it.
Now, I know you had mentioned that you had Carlo when you were little as a dog. Now, was he the only pet you had, or do you remember any other pets?
Oh no, we had like 4 or 5 dogs. Out in the country, if you live in the country, people don't want their dog, they'll just come drop them in your yard. And then they stay because you can't help but feed them. So,
Do you remember any other names?
no, I don't.
No, just Carlo.
Just him because she beat Mama up, or he did.
Now, you had mentioned that you were saved at 16. What religion was that under?
Just charismatic Christian. I guess it was
What, a
Pentecostal.
Baptist?
It was Pentecostal.
Now, do you remember what church you attended? or if any, that you
The
attended?
church we attended regularly as a youngster was Munford Baptist Church. I was at church camp when I did that. When I got saved, that's why it was Pentecostal. I was at a church camp.
Were you ever mentioned in a newspaper, for football or anything?
Yeah.
Was there any reason for you to be mentioned besides football?
Yeah. I'm sure. There's some in my arrest column, I'm sure. And in football, I'm in there in the newspaper, and they got me listed as a center.
You're not a center?
No, I wasn't a center. It was stemmed from a centering deal with the punters. Long story.
Who were your friends growing up? Any of your best friends or anybody that you still remember this day?
Okay. You need both names?
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Frazier. Richard Thornell. Jerry Ballard.
What was his last name?
Ballard. Aaron Wilburn.
You guys were just a bunch of group of friends, weren't you?
Yeah.
Football team.
Oh Lord, yeah, the whole football team. I can't name all of them.
No.
I mean, we were all close. We were all close,
You had to be. Do you remember anything that you guys did together that was anything special?
Yeah, I remember a lot of things we did together.
Anything special?
I remember we used to go, what I enjoyed about one thing we did, we'd all get together at least once a week and go to Whataburger. And we'd all go in and pig out on Whataburgers.
I miss Whataburgers. There's none around here.
No.
Those are nice. Now, whenever you were growing up, do you remember any major world events that had the most impact on you? Or any that personally affected your family?
The most impact was, I wasn't a kid, but I mean, I was a kid. Just when they went into space on my birthday.
Oh, really?
That's when John Glenn, or Shepherd, the first one that went up was on my birthday.
Wow, didn't know that.
I thought that was so neat.
That is neat. What was your first car?
My first car was a 1949 Chevrolet. I paid $60 for it.
60? Wow.
Oh no, I'm sorry, 49.
1949.
49 Chevy. And I paid $60 for it.
This is that was just a pickup truck, right?
No, it was a car.
It was a car? Chevy car. $60? Did you find it out of somebody or what?
Yeah, it was sitting in a glazed yard. I walked past it every day going to school.
Mm-hmm.
So finally I asked her how much she'd take for it. And she told me. And I said, okay. I was making $12 a week at the grocery store, bagging groceries. And we checked it once we went up there. The boys and I checked it in the car. It was 9 miles to where I worked. And I walked to and from work every night. For that $12 for 5 weeks to pay for that car.
Wow. color was it?
Black.
Did it have any leather seats, or did it have a stereo?
No.
Air conditioning?
No.
No.
Just a simple old car.
Describe a typical family dinner.
Typical family dinner. Kind of like it is now, eat and run, you know. Unless it was a special, you know, and everybody coming over, Mama would cook. You know, that was different. But mostly it's like typical family dinners nowadays. Just grab it when you can.
What was your favorite food or your favorite meal that you had?
Mama's chicken and dumplings.
Those are so good.
I know.
Have you ever had Cracker Barrels?
No, I never have.
Those are pretty good.
Are they?
Yeah, so you didn't, if it was an eat and run, you guys didn't eat together basically, or, and your mom did most of the cooking, right?
Yes, she did.
Did any of your sisters ever cook?
Not that I can remember. They may have helped her.
How are holidays, like birthdays or Christmas, celebrated in your family?
My mom made a big deal out of all those holidays. So, as best she could, we celebrated them up, you know. Monetarily, as best we could.
Did your family have any special traditions that you guys would do on these holidays, or? It's kind of an open-ended question, but how is the world today different from the world whenever you were a child?
Okay, the biggest difference is the morals of the country. That's the major difference. There are no morals now. Back then it was. You know. Back then you didn't have to listen to cussing on TV. All that stuff.
Who's the oldest relative you remember?
The oldest one I remember would be my grandmother. I remember when she died, the night she died. And I never really was around her that much, but she was the oldest. And I remember the night she died. So.
Do you hear anything else about her? Like, you know?
No, I sure don't know anything else about her. Other than she was my mama's mama.
Do you remember, you know, around what time, around what, you know, month she died, or even what day? What time of year?
At night.
Night.
I don't know, it was at night.
Do you know anything about your family's surname? The Taylors? Do you know anything about that?
I'm assuming, and I can't prove this, but I'm assuming since my dad was like a half Indian or quarter Indian, they probably gave him a name. Because Floyd was my mother's maiden name, and that's an old Irish name.
Yeah.
Taylor is nothing, you know. It could be the same thing, I don't know. I really don't know.
And your mother was Irish then, right? She was part Irish?
Yes.
And your dad was just part Indian?
As far as I know, that's all, yeah. Like I said, I never really got to know my dad.
So he was just never around, right?
He was just never there.
Is there a naming tradition that your family has followed, you know, such as giving the firstborn son the name of the paternal grandfather or anything like that?
No.
That's kind of extinct today. You don't really see it very often.
Yeah, it is.
What stories have come down to you about your parents or even your grandparents? Any major stories involving your mom or...
None.
Are there any stories of any famous relatives that you have, or no? Are there any recipes? You don't have to give me the exact recipe, but is there any recipe that's been passed down through your family?
Yes, and my niece lost it.
She lost it. What was it?
It was a jam called jam cake.
Ooh.
And it was my mama's recipe, and it was dynamite. Anne tried to make it once, and it turned out like a piece of plastic.
Not how you remember it?
Huh?
Not how you remember it?
No, not exactly.
And Alex lost it? Was it Alex?
No, my niece, Janet.
Janet did.
That was Margaret's daughter.
Oh, okay, that's right. Oh, you said Alex. She's your granddaughter. Are there any physical characteristics that run in your family? Something you share with your brothers, or no? Are you guys all mostly blue-eyed?
No, I think Jerry's got green eyes. And David had brown eyes, and Jimmy had blue eyes.
Okay. Now, what's the full name of Miss Taylor? What's, your spouse?
Anne Elizabeth Sokol Taylor. Sokol. It's her maiden name.
Do you remember the full name of your parents?
Yeah, my dad's name was Lanny, L-A-N-N-Y, Roy Taylor.
And your mom?
My mom's name was Fanny Maybelle Floyd.
Now, how did you meet Miss Taylor? Anything special?
Met her in a bar.
What did you guys do on dates, or did you date, or anything like that?
Yeah, we mostly went motorcycle riding. I was a motorcycle freak at that time. I mean, we went on normal dates. We took Chris to the movies, stuff like that. Of course, when I met her, she had Chris, so
Yeah.
the dating was kind of limited.
Yeah.
So.
Do you remember whenever you proposed to her, what it was like?
Yeah, it was over the phone.
Are you really? It was on the phone?
Yeah. She was in New Orleans and I was up here.
And she said yes, apparently.
She said yes, apparently.
And why was it over the phone? Just,
Well, we couldn't decide what we wanted to do, and finally I decided, I want to marry her. So I asked her, and she said yes. I rented an apartment, and she came up here.
How did you feel when you were going to get married?
Happy.
Happy. Did you feel that you had truly found your love, your life?
Yes.
That's her. Where and when did you get married?
We got married at the Houston County Courthouse. May 8th, 1975.
What memory stands out the most from your wedding day?
After the ceremony, the justice of the peace. We got on our motorcycle and we rode down to the Florida line and sat out on the curb drinking beer. And we went back home.
Kind of a laid-back wedding.
Yeah, it was.
How would you describe Miss Taylor? Something that, is characteristic of her.
The most caring woman I've ever met in my life.
What do you admire most about her?
The way she takes care of me. She goes above and beyond call of duty. And she's pretty too.
She's pretty.
Very pretty woman.
Whenever you're a good person, your beauty shines through even more, so.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
What do you believe is the key to a successful marriage?
The Lord. Doing it His way. Seeking His advice and doing it His way. Because He has a plan.
How did you find out that you were going to be a parent for the first time? And this is after Chris. This is between you and Anne.
I don't really remember. She just came right out and told me.
You don't really remember?
I don't really remember about Brad.
Do you remember about Matt?
We had planned on having Brad. Matt was not planned. So what's wrong with him? But, nevertheless, I'm so glad to have him.
Yeah. I think I had heard that story before, that you guys didn't know Matt was going to be here. Now, since you weren't there when Chris was born, you do consider Chris to be your son, right?
Yes, I adopted him.
You did adopt Chris.
Yeah, he came home one day from school and we didn't know why his name was different from ours. And we explained it to him and what it would take to fix it. And he said, "Can we do that?" And I said, "Yeah, the money won't fix." So we adopted him, yeah. I adopted him.
Now, do you remember the day Brad was born? Anything special about that day, and just explain on it, or?
No, I don't really.
What about Matt? Do you know when he was born?
Yes, I do. We sat in the parking lot for a couple hours. That's the only reason it sticks out. It's because we weren't sure she was in labor or not, and we didn't want to go running in the emergency room.
Yeah.
So we sat in the parking lot for a couple hours.
What's the funniest or most memorable or proudest memory that you have of Matt?
The what?
The proudest memory that you have of Matt, or your most memorable, or even your funniest?
My proudest moment was watching him get up on the stage and play music that I had got him interested in. I'm the one that started him playing guitar.
Mm-hmm.
And when the first time I saw him on stage, it was a big deal for me. Big deal.
That's understandable. What about your funniest memory of him?
Can't recall off the
Why did you choose to name Brad Brad or Matt Matt?
No special reason.
No special reason. Did you guys find the names in a book or
Yeah.
just a baby book name? What are your hopes for each of your children? You know, for Chris even. And we can start with Chris.
Okay, start with Chris. My biggest hope for Chris that he can be born again. And for Brad and Matt, they're both born again. I just would like to see them closer to the Lord so they don't have any decisions to make themselves. They can trust Him.
Is there anything special that you'd like for Brad or anything you'd like for Matt? You know, besides being closer to the Lord or anything like that? What did your family enjoy doing together? You know, something that you guys like to do as a family.
We didn't do anything together as a family.
Is there something that you enjoy doing with your boys? Or?
Yeah, I enjoy working on the truck, fishing with them.
What was your profession, and how did you come about choosing it?
Okay, electronics, really. All types. And the way I chose it, when we moved up here, I was working as a machinist. And that job, they closed the plant and moved to Anniston. Well, I didn't want to move to Anniston, so I quit.
Mm-hmm.
Got a job part-time driving a truck.
Watley White, for who Anne was working for at that time. And finally I just decided I did not want to be a truck driver. I wanted to do electronics. So I studied electronics. And after a couple of years, when I was about to graduate and didn't like a dummy, I went to work for Ed Nelson, whose company here in town, Nelson Electronics. And then in 1991, I worked there for 8 years, and in 1991, I decided to open my own company.
Really?
Yeah, so from 91 to 99, I owned my own company.
What was it called?
Century Electronics. SENTRY.
And then, at 99, you stopped owning your own company, right?
Yeah, and in 99 I stopped owning my own company and went to work for Sanders Security.
Okay. So you went from
Yes.
Nelson to Century to Sanders.
Yes, and at Sanders I was their operations manager for 4 years. Or whatever. Yeah, 4 years.
If you had any other profession, what would have been, something that you would have rather have done rather than this?
A golfer.
A golfer. Why wasn't golf your first choice?
Because I was a poor kid.
Of all the things you learned from your parents, or even just from your mom, what do you feel is the most valuable?
My morals.
We got 2 more sheets.
Okay. No problem.
What accomplishments are you most proud of in your life?
The fact that I own and operate my own company for 9 years, 8 years.
Share with me one of the most important lessons that you've ever learned.
I don't know how it came about, but I can share the lesson. What it would be your well, I lost the word. Your priorities. Keeping your priorities straight. Now how that, I think probably my mother instilled that in me, but I don't know who did it. But that's one of the most important things I've ever learned is to keep my priorities straight.
Yeah.
If I'm working on one thing, get it done.
Mm-hmm.
And don't just get it done right. If you're not going to do it right, don't do it.
Don't do it at all.
You know, just don't even mess with it.
Do you have a favorite photo of you, or even a photo that you've taken?
Yeah, but I don't know where it is.
What's it like?
It's a picture of Anne with curly hair.
Did you take the photo?
Yes.
Now, I know this is kind of, a repeat of an old question, but what values do you, as a person, hold close to your heart?
What values? Morality.
What is one thing that you want people to remember most about you?
That I was a good father and husband. You know, I made mistakes, but overall I was a good father and husband.
You're a good person too, Mr. Taylor.
Thank you, dear.
Is there anything that you would, you want to tell your family on camera, or is there anything that you want me to put in writing? Anything special to your family?
Can you come back some other time and get that?
Yeah.
'Cause that's
That's a long,
a tough one.
yeah, I can do that one. Let me write that down. What would your 18-year-old self tell your present self? And then we'll start there.
What would my 18-year-old self tell myself now? Pay attention to the Lord. Oh no, that's just the opposite.
Yeah, I can put that for the other one because that's the next question.
Okay, yeah.
What advice would you give to your 18-year-old self?
18-year-old, yeah.
And then, what do you think as an 18-year-old you would tell yourself now?
Don't be so trusting.
What could you see from your window in your childhood home?
Woods.
Woods. Were there any mountains in that area?
No.
No. Did you guys have wild animals out there?
Yes. Lots of.
You remember any big ones, or
Any what?
any big wild animals you saw, or any?
Yeah, we had wolves, bears.
You had bears up there?
Yeah, little brown bears.
This is kind of an old question as well, but describe your favorite birthday present.
I can't remember right now, but
That's fine. The next question has you describe the different jobs you had, but you didn't describe the wages or the attire. Do you remember any kind of the wages you had? I know you said you got $12 a week at the grocery store.
mm-hmm.
And what about when you got older? Do you remember?
Well, I'm sure up until I went to work as a machinist in New Orleans, I was paid minimum wage wherever I went.
What about the attire? Was there anything special you used to wear, like a special kind of uniform, or like your jobs?
Yeah, at Sanders and at Century. I wore the Century shirt and the Sanders shirt. And the khaki pants.
What day would you like to relive over and over?
What day?
Any special day that you could live every day?
Dad got married.
And the last question on here is, what do you wish for Matt, or what do you see him doing as a person and as an adult?
Okay. I want him to do well in school, have the opportunities and chances that I never had. And that's the main thing, just for him. He has an opportunity to go to school here, and after I'm gone, he'll have the opportunity to go wherever he wants to. He'll have the money to go wherever he wants, so I want him to have the opportunity to go to school and be the thing that I couldn't be.
Okay, well, we're done with the interview now. If you do want me to come back and get that another day, I can do that.
Yeah, do that.